What I have here is a Craftsman Chainsaw. The model number is 358.350.982. This saw has a 20-inch bar and chain, and I think the engine is around 50 cc, two-stroke engine. It's the same as the Poulan Pro model number PP5020AV, just different color and different labels. But in this video I want to show you how to replace the pull cord or the starter rope on this chainsaw. The first step is to remove this fan housing, which contains the starter recoil assembly, and it's held onto the side of the chainsaw with 4 screws or bolts, and they are located here, 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 and then there's one on this end. They give you a couple of options. You can either use a large flat screwdriver or a T25 Torx driver. So go ahead and remove these screws. I'm going to use a T25 Torx socket with this Bosch impact. With the screws removed, we're ready to remove the fan housing. All the screws are the same size, all 4 screws, so you don't need to worry about mixing them up or putting them in the wrong hole. But with the screws removed, we can take the fan housing off and get ready to work on the starter recoil. So this is the fan housing that we just removed, and if you turn this around, you'll see your starter recoil assembly. So our next step is to remove the old broken rope. Usually you will find a knot tied into the end of the rope, which attaches the rope to the pulley when you pull the starter rope to start the engine. But in this case they used a screw, and what they did is they wrapped the rope around the screw, and then you tighten down the screw to attach the rope to the pulley. So the next step is to remove this screw to remove the rope, and then set that aside, and then pull this out, and then grab the end of the rope, and it should pull itself out of the pulley, and there you go. So the next step is you want to cut yourself a piece of nylon rope. It should be 43 inches long. It's a common rope size. It's number 4. You see this a lot in lawnmowers. But after you cut the rope, you want to melt the ends of the rope so that it doesn't unravel. You can see if I left it like this, it would start to come apart on me. So the solution to that is just to melt it. And then just kind of, it's hot, so be careful. Kind of roll it like that so it doesn't get too big in any spot. And then the other side I think has already been melted. And then we're ready to install the rope. Now take one end of your rope and your handle, route the rope through the handle, and you want to do a double knot in this one, something like this. Try not to end up with too much overhang. And then pull that tight, and you can use the handle to help tighten the knot. So you end up with something like that. And now we're ready to attach the rope to the starter recoil assembly. So now we need to wind up this starter rope pulley and attach the rope to the pulley. There's a couple of ways of doing that. I'm going to show you both ways, but the first method is to take the pulley and rotate it clockwise until you start to feel spring tension. Then rotate it, continue to rotate it clockwise until the hole in the starter rope pulley is lined up with the starter rope hole in the fan housing. After you reach that point, you want to rotate this pulley in the clockwise direction 6 turns. So let's do that. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now I'm ready to attach my rope. Now take the end of your rope and run it through the hole in the fan housing, and then grab it and run it through the hole in the starter rope pulley, and then position the rope like this in the hopefully you can see that, in the starter rope pulley, and then we're ready to attach the screw that holds the rope in place, and then tighten that down. And that's the first method. Now the second method for attaching the rope to the starter rope pulley and winding up the pulley is to rotate the starter rope pulley clockwise just until you start to feel spring tension, then line it up with a hole in the fan housing, and then just repeat the process I just did. Run the rope through the fan housing, and then run the rope through the starter rope pulley, and attach it to the pulley. Like so, and then take your screw, put the screw on, and tighten the screw, and then grab your rope like this, and you want to rotate it 6 times. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then let your pulley go, and then that's it. So the last step is to simply reattach the fan housing to the chainsaw using the 4 screws that I took out earlier in the video. But before you do that, you might want to clean up everything. Make sure that the fan housing is clean and this area is clean, because the fan housing is an important part of keeping your engine cool on the chainsaw. Also, when you wind up these pulleys, it's important not to overwind them, because it just puts extra tension on that spring and also on the parts that spring is connected to, and that can cause something to fail. So anyway, if you've got any questions, leave them in the comments section, and thank you for watching.